Okay guys, this next video is a John Deere that wouldn't start. Customer called me up, said he cranked it, wouldn't start. So hope you enjoy it. It's not too long, and hopefully it's a simple fix. And I also want to thank Allie Mack for the new intro. Enjoy it guys, talk to you later. Okay guys, Deere D125. Popping out the carburetor, so we have to set the head gasket or whatever. So start by taking off the hood. That's a 10 millimeter. You gotta be careful, it's all plastic. You don't want to strip anything out and ruin it. All right, here's the hood. Now we can access everything. All right, in this case, I'll show you what it's doing. Take off the air cleaner because I don't want the air cleaner to catch fire. It's got to be either a stuck valve or a bent push rod or something. So I put it up on a lift like this on stands so that the oil will drain back so it doesn't pour all over the place. All right, take a listen. Excuse me. All right, take a listen, guys. You'll see it popping out over here. Oh, you know what? This guy's got a dead battery. All right, we'll put the jump box on it. One essential tool that you have to have if you're working on small engines is a jumper box, a 12-volt jumper box. This one here, ES 5000, you get on Amazon about 130 bucks. It's used by my local law enforcement. It will jump anything in any temperature, trucks, cars, whatever. So I really like it. All right, now listen for the popping, guys. Pop, it'll start because it's running on one cylinder, but it's popping out the carburetor, which means one cylinder's bad. They're popping. One cylinder's running, one cylinder's popping. Now it's up to me to figure out what cylinder. Hard to say, but it looks like the cylinder on the right has a lot more oil around it. So I'm going to put a leak down tester hose on it and try to see if I can get air to come out the carburetor by just putting air into the spark plug hole. All right, let me get that set up. I'll be back. All right, we're back. Oops, wrong. 5/8. Oh, 5/8. Yeah, it looks like 5 8. Yeah, there you go. Yep. Yep, I think it's this one. You can tell the plug is all wet. That's another sign. The plug is wet, which means it wasn't burning off correctly. So that's her on that one. Let's see if she proves out. So we're going to take the leak down tester and put a little air in there. This one you get at Harbor Freight, about 30-40 bucks. You test how good the inside of your engine is. Screwed into the spark plug hole. It's got an O-ring on it so it'll seal. Make sure you're sealed. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put compressed air into the engine. And when you rotate the engine, it should come out, it should come out the intake, and then it should not come out. When it's at top dead center and it's not supposed to come out anywhere, if there's a problem with a valve, it'll come out somewhere. So that's what we're going to try. Okay, so you hook this up. And I don't put a lot of air in it. I generally put about 10 pounds. That'll turn the engine over. All right, I got about 10 pounds in there. So let me turn the engine by hand. Now this engine rotates this way, so I got about 15 pounds. So okay, there's the intake. You can hear it coming out the intake. And that should have closed by now. You're still getting air out of this intake. Yeah, I think it's this one. You definitely get air out of the intake. So that means it's the intake valve on this side. All right. Shut off your hair. The way this normally works, you crank it up into the green section, all right, for your set point. All right, there's actually yellow on the end that says set. Crank it up into the set area, plug it in, and it should be in the green area to denote 20 or so percent leakage. A brand new engine should have about 10% leakage. You can go as high as say 30-35% leakage. Once you hit over 40, bad rings, bad valves, bad something. All right, now that we know it's this side, now we gotta take the valve cover off and see what's going on. And chances are we'll see a bent push rod or a valve seat or something. Put a little rag underneath in case any oil decides to come out. And we'll proceed to take off the valve cover. The way you got an impulse fuel pump that uses vacuum from the crankcase. Take that hose off. All right. And now let's take off the valve cover. They're usually 10 millimeter. I recommend using these when you're taking fasteners off, but when you're putting them on, tighten them by hand so you don't strip them. Oh, 3/8, not 10 millimeter. It's funny how some engines have half metric and half English now. Okay, there's the 4 screws holding on the valve cover. Now I'm hoping the valve cover comes off easily, because sometimes these can be a pain. And this one might be a pain. So, let's do a little persuasion. There we go. All right, not too bad. Okay. All right. Now I'm looking, the push rods don't look bent. All right, here's the exhaust. Bring it back up. Intake. Should just give it a little bit of a. Here's the intake. Now it should bump it. And there's top dead. Now we'll look at the valve guides. It looks like this intake guide, there's the seal for it. Is higher than this one. So that would tend me to believe that this guide has moved. I'm going to take off the other side rocker just to check it as well, just to see and make sure I've got the right side. All right. So let me get another rag. And let's see what this side looks like. Like I said, by seeing it come out the intake, you know it's intake, but that doesn't necessarily tell you what side. Aha! What do we got here, guys? We've got the adjuster for this side, and you got a bunch of bent push rods. It's this side. All right. So this rocker arm's doing nothing. And it looks like you either have a broken or bent push rod. Let's take a look. See what we got here. All right. That push rod doesn't look bent. It just looks like it fell off and the adjuster came off. And that could be because of the bent intake push rod. So oh yeah, she's bent. Okay, now bent push rod can come from a few things. The bent push rod, well, number one, the exhaust valve wasn't opening at all, okay? So what you saw through the carburetor with the exhaust valve not open, once it fired in this cylinder, where would that compression and fire go? Back into the exhaust. So it held its pressure in the chamber, and when this intake valve opened, it went up there. And by going up there, it popped out the carburetor, you can see it, and it bent the push rod because it wasn't doing what it was supposed to do at the right time. The issue is now, why did it do it? Okay, it could be the valve guide, it could be the valve seat. So next step would be taking the head off and checking it. So that's my next step. So let me start working on that, and then I'll come back to you guys, all right? We will talk to you soon. Okay guys, to test my theory, to make sure everything's okay, I re-bent the intake push rod till it was straight, within a few thousandths, as straight as I could get it. Okay, I put back in the exhaust push rod, I tightened that down. It's not too tight, but it's tight, just so we can get it to run. I didn't really go crazy with it. It's a little loose, but it's tight enough to run. So let's see if it runs. Now, if my theory was right and it was just a bent push rod and nothing else happened, and it happens, you get backfires and things, push rods bend, you know, things happen. This adjuster came out, so it held it. I mean, that could have had something to do with it too. Let's see if it starts. As you guys say in the UK, brilliant. Okay, so what I'm going to do, even though it's running and it seems to be running okay, I'm going to change out the push rods. I'm going to buy a new set of push rods. Okay, so I'll call up the customer. I'll tell them right now it looks like it's just push rods. I'll order them, and it's probably, you know, under $100 bill for the whole thing. That means me going to pick it up, diagnosing it, buying the push rods, and install them. A pretty simple job. So I'm going to put the valve cover back on it, and we should be ready to go. Well, till the push rods get here. I like nice and easy fixes. Those are always good. The only reason I'm putting new push rods in there, like I said, I bent back the other push rod, but I don't know if it's really good. And once it's bent, it may bend again. So I'm going to keep it where I'm going to put a new one in. So I'll order those today, and hopefully we'll have them in a couple of days. If my dealer has them in stock tomorrow, I'll just pick them up with the dealer. So no big deal. Let's see. And I'm just going to cinch these up. I'm not going to snug them because I have to take this valve cover back off. Okay. All right. So we'll put the air filter back in. Should have a pre-filter on it, but I don't think I was able to find one at the time I tuned this up. It's been over a year since I tuned this up, I believe. All right, let's put this back up. What I can do, and what I will do for the rest of the day, I'll put a battery charger on that battery to get the battery charged up. But right now, let me see how she starts and let me see how she runs. Make sure she's running okay. bit of smoke out the exhaust. Not going to worry too much about that right this second. So eventually, could the head gasket start to be going or something? Yeah, maybe. But at this point, the bent push rod was the main culprit, and he needs it to cut the grass. The season's going to be over in another month, so let me get the push rods in, let me get him going, and you know, we'll go from there. All right, guys, a nice easy repair, quick and easy. In fact, I'm going to call him right now. If he wants to cut his grass, I'll bring it back over for him to cut his grass. Otherwise, he's going to have to wait about a week to get the parts in to put the new push rods in. Will this push rod that I rebent last? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it'll get him out of trouble to cut his grass. But for now, I know what I have to do. All right, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, hit the bell if you want to see any more of my videos. But thanks for watching, guys. We'll talk to you soon.